Hungry televisions, evil teachers, and one very melodramatic wall. Series 2 of Doctor Who throws everything at the screen, and today we're ranking it all, from worst to best, to see just why the 10th Doctor's era caught the hearts of the nation. There is one very controversial placement coming up later within the list, but I think we can all agree that the last place just isn't very good. Number 13, Fear Her. If there's one thing I can't stand in this world, it's kids thinking they can draw, cluttering up the walls and the fridge with shit art. Fear Her is one of the most childish episodes of the show, and that's actually baked into its design. Writer Matthew Graham was asked to write a child-friendly episode that would appeal to 7-year-olds, and I think he did that a little too well. Kids don't need to be treated as kids all the time, and I think this episode is so airy-fairy that I remember being bored all those years ago. It handles some of its themes well. The abusive parent story is handled a lot better than another story later on this list, and it's nice to see Rose working by herself to save the day, but overall it's an episode I'd happily skip on rewatches. That being said, the whole cancel acts from a cancel van moment may be one of the greatest scenes ever produced for the show. I will leave it to you to decide if that's a joke or not. Number 12, The Idiot's Lantern. The Queen's crowning while you're being sucked off by the telly. The Idiot's Lantern is an insane episode of TV that I still struggle to explain all these years later. So much is going on, from the messy ending of forgiving an abusive parent just because he's your dad, to the endless amount of Dutch angles throughout the entire runtime. That may sound like a strange critique, but it gives me a headache. I quite like the wiring concept, and I enjoy her appearance within the first half of the episode, but by the second half she's mainly just screaming hungry or feed me on repeat, losing some of that menace from her earlier scenes and becoming a patron of Toby Carvery. There's some nice visuals, especially with the faceless people and some of the 50s sets, and all the performances are quite strong, but I just can't overlook some of the weird creative decisions. That ending with Tommy's dad will forever feel icky to me. Also, I don't think we need 2 abusive parent storylines in one season. Number 11, Love and Monsters. Listen, it's easy to slate this episode, but it deserves some credit for trying something different. First of all, it's the first Doctor and Companion Light episode of the revival, a technique that has been used multiple times since. Structuring a whole episode from the point of view of a completely new character is a fun experiment, and although it doesn't always work, there's some great scenes that come from that. It gives us a lot of Jackie Tyler, which is never a bad thing, and the scenes where we get to see how Rose's travels have affected her are beautifully written and played. Some of the humour lands, some of it doesn't, but there is a charm to this episode, mainly due to it feeling so 2006. The whole aesthetic, the mismatched sitcom group vibes, the dreadful vlogging, it's very 2000s. If that's for better or worse, I can't really say. I do know that the Azorbalov is bad, and Peter Kay is worse. The side characters are annoyingly dumb at times, and it definitely gets caught up in its own silliness, meaning the story's sadder moments sometimes fail to land. But I do think that an episode that was inspired by a kid winning a monster competition being absolutely hated by the fandom is one of the funniest things to ever come out of this show, and for that alone it deserves some love. It crushed a child's dreams and Peter Kay's spirit all in 45 minutes. Russell, you evil genius. Number 10, New Earth. Why have one monster when you can have 3? The Doctor is up against cat nurses, zombies, and future Cher in this Mad Dash series opener. It's kind of insane to think that this is the 15th episode of the revival and only the first alien world that we've landed on. New Earth may not be the most exciting episode of the show, nor the most unique, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a lot of fun. It's RTD campness with a good splash of weirdness, and you can really tell just how important monsters were for this era. The cat nurses are great and still look fantastic today, the zombie patients are both horrific and sad in equal measure, and Cassandra is just as skinny as ever. I do wonder if this episode would have been better placed later in the series. As we barely spent any time with the new Doctor and Companion duo in the Christmas Invasion, it's slightly odd to do a body swap comedy straight after. But both Tennant and Piper perform it so well that it's still captivating viewing. Also, the face of Bo is here, and I love this big head in a jar. Number 9, Tooth and Claw. Kung Fu monks, Queen Victoria, and a werewolf walk into a bar. This could only be Doctor Who. This episode lives and dies depending on its atmosphere, and I think they capture the gothic scares pretty well for the most part. The man in the cage is still a horrifying visual, and the actor Tom Smith certainly earned his paycheck, giving us a very brief yet chilling performance. The side characters are good, the setting looks fantastic, and David Tennant and Billie Piper have wonderful chemistry as the Doctor Companion duo. The werewolf is a lot of fun, and I love how much screen time he actually gets. They promise us a werewolf and deliver on that promise. Sometimes the humour feels slightly out of place. It would have been nice if they just committed fully to the horror tone, but that's an issue a lot of episodes have. It's just a good standard episode of Doctor Who. It does nothing that exactly blows me away, but I always have fun with it during a rewatch. Number 8. Army of Ghosts. If you think this is controversial, just wait for the next one. Series 2 gets a lot of flack within the fandom, but for me, every episode from this one onwards is a great Doctor Who adventure. Army of Ghosts does a lot of things right. The character drama is pitched beautifully, the opening teaser is a great cliffhanger in itself, and I adore all the ghostly shenanigans. So why is it so low? Firstly, I think they reveal the Cybermen far too early, killing the mystery of the ghosts before they've fully been mined of their potential. It's also just a lot of setup, and out of all the two-parters, it's the setup episode that engages me the least. That's not me saying it's bad, I like it, I really like it. That cliffhanger with the Daleks is a masterful piece of storytelling, Mickey's return is a welcome surprise, and Jackie Tyler gets her time in the spotlight. Right, time to piss some people off. Number 7. The Girl in the Fireplace. Some of you will have this as your top spot, most of you will probably put it in the top 3, and others definitely have it in the top 5. So here I am being a controversial arse, putting it 7th. Honestly, any other day this could be bumped closer to the top spot. My opinion on this episode seems to change all the time. There's something about it that just doesn't wow me like it does for other viewers. I adore the setting, the story's really fun and interesting, and the monsters look great. I should in theory love it, and I do in ways, but I always find myself looking at the time halfway through. It feels longer than 45 minutes, and honestly, I don't know why. It's got all of Moffat's best qualities, snappy dialogue, a great atmosphere, and a scary monster, and I'd be bloody proud if I wrote it. I'd like to write something like this, just for some reason today, it's not hitting for me. So you can hit that dislike button if you must, but if you really, really want to piss me off, like and subscribe instead. Number 6. The Age of Steel. God, I love a Cyberman. This two-parter reintroduced these iconic foes perfectly. The Age of Steel is the more action-packed episode of the two, yet the drama and slower heartfelt moments never feel out of place. I love that Mickey gets to come into his own, and his exit from the series, albeit brief, is wonderfully constructed. The supporting characters are great, Lumic is fun even if he is a little bit pantomime-like, and I'm a big fan of how grounded the parallel world is. It's easy to go too far with some sci-fi elements, but here they get that balance perfectly. It's just a great episode for the middle of the series, setting up the finale while still being a good fun standalone adventure, blending new with a little dollop of nostalgia, something this RTD era was so good at. Number 5. School Reunion. I'm always going on about Doctor Who being darker again, so it's no surprise that an episode that starts with a teacher eating a student makes it into the top 5. School Reunion has to balance lots of different elements, and for the most part it succeeds. Sarah Jane Smith is introduced to a whole new generation of fans, and it wouldn't be long until she is given a show of her own, proving just how successful this return to screen was. I think I made a wet sound mouth there. I'm not re-recording it. Enjoy the sound of my wet tonsils. What a horrible phrase. The whole exploration of a companion's life after the Doctor leaves is beautifully written, never dumbing down the emotions for the sake of the children in the audience. The comedy is well balanced, and I'm shocked that the Crittertains haven't returned since. Not only are they just a brilliant villain, but the episode literally says they can change their appearance, meaning you can do anything with them. It's not all perfect. Sarah Jane and Rose's jealous bickering gets old very quickly, and I don't like the show confirming Sarah has romantic feelings for the Doctor. It's actually more heartbreaking if he was just her best friend. But overall, it's a fun episode I find myself coming back to time and time again. Number 4. Rise of the Cybermen. This is build-up done right. It may be slower in pace than Age of Steel, but my god is it gripping. The character drama is pitched perfectly, and the slow encroaching dread of the Cybermen is drip-fed throughout the runtime, building to that wonderful reveal as they crash the Tyler's party. It's an episode full of humour and heart, and the Doctor and Rose's relationship really comes into its own here. The chemistry is just electric. Again, Lumic is slightly like a pantomime villain, but there's also something charming about him. It feels very classic Who, which is never a bad thing. Well, it can be a bad thing, it's not here. Fucking hell. I've seen a lot of people get annoyed at how stompy the Cybermen are, which goes to show just how insane fandoms can be, but also, I think it's perfect. Hearing that marching grow louder as they approach is just a great little motif that the show hasn't actually utilised fully. Give me a complete Cybermen surprise, first revealing their appearance in the story with that stomping from afar. The side characters are interesting, the parallel world is fun without being too silly, and the cliffhanger is incredibly simple but effective. It's just a great part 1 to a story, and I love to see two-parters used again within a series, not just for finales, because they're a lot of fun when done right. Speaking of finales, number 3. Doomsday. Daleks, Cybermen, Jackie fucking Tyler. So much is going on in this episode and it's wonderful. As the revival's first departure of a full-time companion, Doomsday really needed to hit the landing. Although fans' opinion on Rose seems to be more mixed nowadays, you can't forget just how much the general public fell in love with her back in the 2000s. Rose and the Tyler family as a whole really captured the audience imagination, so this exit needed to not just be emotionally satisfying, but needed to feel like a big event. And that's the genius of Doomsday. Everything feels like a proper moment. Daleks and Cybermen fighting on screen for the first time, the beautiful reunion between Jackie and Parallel Pete. Everything just feels epic, even on that BBC budget. The humour, such as the Daleks and Cybermen bitching at each other, is balanced perfectly with the heartfelt and the heartbreaking sequences. Nothing feels out of place. This is a masterfully crafted script where every beat not only feels earned, but gets its moment to shine. And Rose's departure is full on emotion. It's determined to pull on the audience's heartstrings, and after such a successful return to screen, I think the show deserves these big emotional outbursts. It's why a lot of the ones in Modern Who don't feel right. They haven't earned them. Here they earn it, and that's why it hits. Some people argue that Rose's return in Series 4 ruins this departure. Those criticisms may seem almost nitpicky after whatever hell awaits us this Christmas. Number 2. The Impossible Planet. Doctor Who has tackled religion and faith quite a few times over the years, but never has it been executed as brilliantly as here. This two-parter is just a wonderful story, and The Impossible Planet sets up everything from the concepts to the side characters perfectly. The Ood are a brilliant invention, their spaghetti mouths and the communication ball makes for a wonderfully simple yet effective design. I remember being a kid and always shoving as much pasta in my mouth as possible to recreate these guys at family dinners. God, I was hilarious. The atmosphere of the piece is captured immediately, the little moments of humour never take away from the seriously dark and grown-up themes of the episode. Scenes such as Danny being told not to turn around and poor Scooty, being sucked into space are haunting, offering that horror that Doctor Who used to do so well. And that cliffhanger is a proper edge-of-your-seat moment. Everything builds, the Ood gets an eye infection and the devil roars. Extras who never speak, keeping their appearance much cheaper for production, are killed and all hope is lost. The perfect tea time adventure for a Saturday night. Number 1. The Satan Pit. If The Impossible Planet is a masterclass in build-up, then the Satan Pit is the go-to blueprint of how to execute an emotionally satisfying payoff. Action sequences are beautifully crafted, with the Ood chasing events being one of the best scenes of the series. The Ood switch from cute aliens to menacing monsters effortlessly, and the supporting cast are once again brilliantly handled. The scene where the Beast calls out their darkest fears, while also calling one of the guys a virgin for shits and giggles, is one of the greatest monster moments, immediately showing us just how powerful and all-seeing this unknown entity is. Doctor Who Fights the Devil could have easily been a cringy outing, but so much care and skill is put into this episode that it's almost insane that it's in the same season as Fear Her and Love and Monsters. This is Doctor Who as a proper grown-up sci-fi drama. How I long for episodes like this again. For more Series 2 content, make sure to check out my full season analysis, comment your rants, raves and rankings below, and I'll see you in whatever video I get finished next.